Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Musical Connections podcast. I am your host, Zach Snow. 2024 was a great year for the show, and we got some big goals for 2025. And my guests right now have some big goals for 2025 themselves. Hot off the release of their album Somewhere in Between and having a nomination for a Canadian Folk Music Award, these youngsters are making some noise in the trad scene in Newfoundland and Labrador. And joining me right now are two of the members of the group Salt Beef Junkies. We got Lukemercer to my left, Ty Simms to my right. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us, Zach.
And this has been long overdue. I've been trying to get you guys on since September.
Oh, yeah. We've been pretty busy, but we'd love to start the new year with doing this right away. So
absolutely, and I can't think of a better guest to kick off 2025 with than you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
So 2024 was a big year for you guys. It was really your breakthrough year. So tell me a little bit about how you feel about 2024.
2024 for us was, I feel, we took that next step from being like a youngster band to actually being like a band. We took that next step with making our first album, then we had our first nomination as a band, and now we have another nomination. So we got out there with more gigs and meeting more people, playing with more musicians. So I guess from there, it took the next step for us to become like more of a solid band.
For sure. And anything to add to that, Luca? What are your thoughts on 2024?
Well, I think 2024 has definitely been our best year because, it's when we've got most of our stuff, all set to go now because, like Ty said, we've been playing with a lot more people and getting into a lot, more different styles of music because we went up to the Northern Peninsula this summer and, up there, the music up there is Newfoundland music, but some of the people that up there, they write their own songs and nobody knows about it. And it's amazing to see the people up there in their songs. And we're trying on our next album. There's a man that gave us one of his songs when we were up there this summer, and we're gonna record that on our next album.
Oh, really? Who was that guy that gave you that song?
Mike Gardner.
Yeah.
Mike Gardner, yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in the works of doing a few more original songs, but I think we got about 2 or 3 done here now, or we're working on, and that song that Buddy gave us there now, so we're trying to get a few more things done.
Now, 2 of those songs that ended up becoming very popular for you guys were Staying Here. I believe you wrote that, Luke, or you wrote that, Ty. Well, yeah, I think Staying Here was yours. And Far Away, which is a song you sang on the album, you wrote yourself.
Yeah.
So Somewhere in Between was your debut album. You had an album release show at O'Reilly's. I was down there, and it was a great time. Yeah. And Aaron Collis and Tyler Humber got up to sing a few songs with you guys, and that was a grand time. Yes. But your debut album, Somewhere in Between, what was the recording process for that like? Because you recorded on this, I believe, with Billy Sutton.
Yep.
Yeah. That was I think it was a good experience for us and an experience for Billy, because I think it was the first time Billy worked with youngsters, and he didn't know what to expect.
Poor Billy.
So we tortured him a little bit, but we were about a month just fully recording, getting everything done, prepared. We drove him nuts, but we
might only took 10 or 15 years off his life. But yeah, that's all right though. It was a good time.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing studio.
Yeah.
We recorded at Jason Whalen's studio. It was an amazing building.
Yeah, the sound solution.
Oh, it was an amazing studio to record in, and just I just can think about Billy and how much we put him to torture. No, it was just a really, really good learning experience for us because we recorded our first demos back in early 2023.
Wow.
And we recorded the 3 originals. And then I wrote one more after when we did the album. Okay. But we recorded 3 demos. We just did guitar, accordion, boron, vocals, no other backing up stuff. There was really not much editing or any mixing. It was just demos to send off for grants and stuff like that. But besides that, that was all. And then when we actually got to the studio to do the full recordings, we were just flat out every day, 8 to 9 hours a day. I remember Billy, we learned that we would, I think it was the very first few days, we ordered McDonald's for food. And Billy would go out for 20 minutes and he'd come back with brie sandwiches. And we were like, Billy, what is that? And he was like, it's a brie sandwich, just try it. And we were like, all right, sure, why not? So I think after we went and tried it, later on after we finished recording it. But just a learning experience for us to be with such a well-known and amazing musician as what he's doing, and for him to be working with young people, I guess we had a really good connection after the first few days. We really connected and we worked out stuff, and we keep in contact with Billy all the time. Billy's an amazing guy.
Oh, for sure. And he's worked on albums for Matthew Byrne and Rum Ragged.
Oh, God, yeah.
Rum Ragged's
Yeah.
been a very consistent collaborator for him.
Oh yeah.
But Billy's all about, helping that scene continue to grow to the next generations like the Rum Raggeds and like yourselves, who are really carrying that tradition forward. And yes, you guys have been at this for quite a while. You've been playing accordions, I believe, since you were like a little kid.
Yeah, since I was 5.
It's insane. So how did that all start for you, Luke?
Well, I mean, as a little youngster, like, if you see something that got a bunch of buttons you can push, you're going to love it automatically. And if it makes a sound, it's even better.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so, I mean, when I was a baby, my father used to have my grandfather's accordion. We still got it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, I think it's from the World War II base in Stephenville. That's when it was made. It was brought there during World War II when they had everything set up there in Stephenville. So my family's from out in the West Coast area. So my father used to have that accordion. When I was a baby, I always used to be poking at it all the time. So I guess when I was 5, I was like, maybe I should learn how to play it instead of just pushing on the buttons. So I started listening to Harry Hibbs, Minnie White, all the above, and I loved it. And then I started into music lessons, and for, I think it was 6 months, I could only play hot cross buns. So,
Listen, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Got to start somewhere.
But of course, you also took lessons from Aaron Collis,
Yep.
and you also took some singing lessons as well.
Yeah, I took, Aaron taught me how to play accordion when I was 5. I did lessons with him and Mark Hiscock for a while. And Anthony Chafe, he used to play with Rum Ragged. He taught me how to play guitar and sing.
Oh yeah, me and him went to school together actually.
Oh, did you?
Yep, he's a year ahead of me.
Okay,
wow, yeah.
there you go. I didn't know that.
Now you know.
I was just down to Anthony not too long ago because my father got his moose license to go up on the Southern Shore, and that's where Anthony got his. And my dad was asking Anthony where's some spots to go and where's the best spot to go get a moose and stuff like that. Yeah, because we work at Gatherhouse, and that's Anthony worked there for years. See, so that's how we also have a connection there with Anthony. Yeah.
Listen, he's a good hand with moose handlers, I'll tell you that
Oh,
much.
yeah.
He's nuts with he sent me a picture the other day, or this was a few weeks ago, and he said it was in his shed. I guess it was my moose fridge and my beer fridge, and he opened up the freezer, and it was just moose
and beer.
and beer.
Moose and beer. Yeah.
That's Newfoundland and Labrador's night right there, beer and moose.
Yeah.
Beer moose.
Now, Taya, how about yourself? What got you into music?
So my grandfather was a musician around the Bay in a town called Galtus. That's where my grandfather played for years. He played with many bands, and my uncle is actually he was the accordion player in Anchors Away.
Wow.
Don Fudge, yeah, actually. So I have a bit of music history in my family, but so around the Bay, like in Galtus and like Franceway and like all that kind of stuff, that's where Craig Young is from. So Craig Young actually played in the band with one of my cousins, and I took lessons from Craig for like 9 years.
Yeah,
and
Craig
that's where I started.
Yeah, Craig is one of the best guitarists like this province has ever produced.
I'd
Getting
say
to play
he's
with
the
Terry
best.
Clark and Gore Bamford, it's insane.
Oh, he's like
Craig is deadly.
Craig is nuts. Like I don't know if there's any better guitar player I've seen than Craig. Like, yeah, but I was with him for 9 to 10 years. Just before he left to go to New Zealand, I started. That was when I stopped doing lessons with him. But I started when I was like, I don't even remember how young. Like pretty young. But yeah, that's where I started.
Oh, yeah. Like, even though you guys are still young, like you're 18, you're 15, you guys are veterans of the music scene. You've been at this for about a decade now.
Yeah, that's what we said. I told him the other day because Alex was he's only 13 now. I said, by the time Alex becomes of age, we'll be together for almost 12 years.
That's insane.
Yeah, we'll be together for a long time by the time Alex actually comes 19.
Yeah,
So,
what impresses me the most about the current generation of musicians and the ones that are coming up, you guys have been playing music for years, and it's also because of programs like the Celtic Fiddlers program and Young Folk at the Hall that I'm seeing the musicians that have come out of there really become household names in our province.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really impressive. Like, look at the Rosemary Lawtons of the world. You look at the Rachel Cousins. Hell, look at Mark Manning.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
they've been going through these programs, and now all of a sudden they're really well equipped to handle the music scene because they've been through these programs to know like what being a musician is really all about.
Yeah.
Now, how did the whole Salt Beef Junkies group come together in the first place?
So there's the name we don't know where the name came from 100%. The story we can remember from the name, Luke, tell you about how we formed after.
All right, let us know,
Yeah,
Luke.
so, well, we were first going to name ourselves Almost Legal. My mother wasn't going to let us do that.
No, it'd run out too fast.
Yeah, so then we were like, what's something good? And I was sitting down eating Jig's dinner, I was like, Salt Beef Junkies, that's a song too. I was like, you know what? That's I was going to call Ty now and see.
Yeah.
I was like, and he was like, you know what? Sure, Salt Beef Junkies. Here we go.
There's no story behind where we got the name, but we formed a band because so the St. Pat's Dancers, my sisters they used to be the tap dancers in the St. Pat's Dancers, and Luke was the accordion player. And one day there was no guitar player, and they needed one, so I just filled in with Luke. And then from there we kind of formed a band together, and then Alex came along with us, and that's how the band came from there. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, you've done some really big things over the course of I would say like 6 or 7 years. You guys have really been together. You guys have been playing for quite a while now.
We formed the band probably around, the band was named probably around 5 to 6 years ago, but we've been playing together for like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me and you've been playing since I was 7, I think.
We've been playing together for a long time.
That's when I started playing with dancers when I was 7. So that's when I met you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Now, you've played with some great bands over the course of your time together.
Oh, yeah.
One of the highlights of your career so far is playing with Shanneyganock. You guys got to see the Islander on stage with him.
Yeah.
What was that like, going to be up on the George Street Festival stage with about 5,000 people downtown George Street having the time of their lives, and you getting to sing one of the songs that really has become a legendary song of Newfoundland and Labrador music canon?
It was like,
mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. Yeah. It was really mind-blowing.
It's like a pinch me moment right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Oh, it is, yeah. No, there's a few funny stories, and we had a few fun experiences when we were down there. There's one story there's one story we had where after we got off stage, we had these 2 ladies come up to us, and they were like, oh, you guys were amazing, like, such a good job. Can we get a picture with you and all this kind of stuff? We were like, oh, yes, lovely. And one of them ended up actually being my English teacher.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, oh, wow, hi. And we had never met because it was like the next year coming, she was my English teacher. And we had a lot of fun. But being in front of, on stage in front of so many people like that, well, that was probably the biggest crowd we've ever played for.
I'd say definitely.
The biggest we played before that was probably at the folk festival on the main stage. So it was probably about 1,000 people. Yeah. But for us, that was the biggest crowd. So it was almost mind-blowing because nobody knew, that we were coming out. So we had a few family members and a few people in the crowd, like Dean Clark was in the crowd, and he had no idea, and he caught a glimpse of us on the side of the stage, and he called us over right away. He was like, what are you doing here? You're underage. And then we were like, oh, nothing, we're just here to listen. And he knew something was up. But we had a few family members in the crowd who didn't know and stuff, and it was just an amazing experience to come out. And they'd be like, oh my God, we know you, and all that kind of stuff. What about you?
Oh, yeah. But it was a really good time that when we played at George Street, just getting to watch Shanny, where we were on the side of the stage because we couldn't go out with the crowd, right? As much as we could pretend to be 19, I don't think we'd get away with it, right?
No.
So
it's a good thing you didn't call yourselves Almost Legal then.
Oh, yeah, there you go. But we were on the side of the stage and just watching Shanny play their whole set, and they're so into the music with each other. It's just deadly.
Yeah, and it's really the tightest group that they've had ever, really. And they just celebrated 30 years themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the tightest that Shanny's ever been for a band, because they have Brad is their drummer and Patty is their fiddle player, and they have 2 guitar players, I'd say, Craig and Jason both come along whenever needed, besides Chris himself, the lead singer and lead guitar player. But
and Mark, the button accordion player, listening to a lot of
Yeah.
them growing up through homebrew CD collections.
And Ian I think Ian's probably the best bass player
Ian's a
ever
wicked
come
bass
out.
player.
He's amazing.
He's nuts at it. Yeah, I say it's Ian and Justin Hickey, in my opinion.
Ian and Justin Hickey are my 2 favorite bass players in the province.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Justin Hickey's a great bass player, too.
He's nuts. He's
with the Irish Descendants for 9 years, and now, especially with the Kitchen Party, and they're starting to explode now.
they're going places, 100%.
But the Celtic Christmas that Irish Descendants used to do with Kitchen Party and the Navigators, Justin used to play with that. And, that used to be my favorite Christmas concert of all.
That was one of my favorites, too.
They, especially Uncle Joe's Christmas. That Arthur O'Brien wrote that one, and I asked him a couple Christmases ago if he could send me the words for the song because it was a really nice song. So he sent it to me, and we did the same thing as they did. So they go into Christmas in Killarney right after it.
It was the first time we did that song was out in Carbonear for Ray Johnson's Christmas show. That was the first time we did that song, Uncle Joe's Christmas. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who's been your favorite person or group that you've met or played with so far?
Rum Ragged, for sure.
Rum Ragged,
and I'd say recently, the funniest one was Bud Davidge.
Yeah, Bud
Davidge.
We had Bud Davidge up on stage at O'Reilly's to do the Mummer song with us for Justin Greeley tribute down at O'Reilly's.
Yeah, that was recently. What was that like to get Bud up on stage?
That was he was there. We've met Bud a few times, and he's a funny guy, but we've never actually played with him. We used to do this set of just seminized songs together, and we never stopped. We just used to play them all together. We called it the Bud Davidge set. Yeah. And we did it at O'Reilly's for a few times, and then we got out to this wedding party out in Bay Bulls, and we hadn't practiced. Like we discussed adding a few new songs to the Bud Davidge set, and we discussed it, and we said, yeah, fine, we'll do it. We didn't really practice it much. We were like, it's just a wedding party. We'll give it a go out there. And as soon as we walked in the door, Bud Davidge was there himself. I was like, are you joking? The one time we tried to switch it up, the guy who wrote the songs is there.
Wow.
And that was really the first time we met Bud, and we talked to him a little bit there. And but then when we got down to O'Reilly's, he was there, and we were like, we can give it a shot and see if he wants to come up. And he got up there, and he was like, yes, I'll do a song with the young squirts. Oh, he's so funny. There's a video on our Facebook if you want to check it out. And, oh, man.
It's on TikTok too, Jackie Sullivan got it on TikTok.
It's so funny. He's one of the funniest musicians that I've met. Yeah.
And he's got stories for days. He's a legend in every sense of the word.
Yeah. He knows like everybody. Yeah.
Now you said you've played with Rum Ragged before, and I was down at that show for Rum Ragged's album release for Gone Jigging. You got to open for them, and you got up to sing "Ghost in the Fog" with them, a song you recorded on Somewhere in Between.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Because that must have been like, holy crap, this is such a surreal moment that a song that we recorded and Rum Ragged recorded, we're singing it together.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing experience because when they reached out to us and asked if we wanted to do it, I think it was like 30 seconds, and we had sent a message already back and been like, yes, we'll do it, no worry, we'll do it 100%. And we didn't even discuss about getting up together and doing a song. We just were like, yeah, we'll do our set, they'll do our set. And they had and we got there. I don't know if it was Mark or Aaron. One of them came up to us like, yeah, we're going to do a song together, by the way. I was like, oh, are we? Like, perfect. They're like, we're going to do Ghost in the Fog. I was like, oh, okay, because we do a different version of what they do. It's the same, but we do it like we do a different version. But
yeah, you do it in a different key.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, we doing our version or yours? And he was like, no, we're doing yours. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But it was surreal just to have them out there like that because that's one of my favorite songs of all time is that song.
With our version of Ghost in the Fog, what we tried to do with it was put Bob Porter's version and Rum Ragged's version and with our own little twist combined onto it.
Yeah, because if you notice in the third verse in Rum Ragged's version, they do it really slow and really quiet. Like there's not really many instruments and stuff like that. And that's what we did in our third verse, the same, because that was one of my favorite parts of the song. But we kept like the same like upbeat parts for the other two verses, like Bob Porter's version as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that must have been like a real pinch me moment right there because that's one of your teachers that taught you how to sing, how to play guitar, and play accordion. So getting to play Ghost in the Fog with them, like. Wow,
yeah, it was nuts, and we thankfully got to watch the rest of the show as well. And I gotta say, Colin Grant is the most entertaining fiddle player I've ever seen in my life.
Dude is ridiculously good.
He could do the show himself and just be like, wow, like he's just like an amazing. And
when he plays, he dances too. Like whenever he sees him playing, he's there dancing away.
He does, like tapping his feet.
He's into it.
He's crazy.
Oh yeah.
And then when we get into do sets, he tap dances himself.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, and just like, they're amazing to watch, and it was even more amazing to get the chance to actually get up and play with them.
Oh, yeah. Now, you've also been up for a MusicNL award in that same category, and then Rum Ragged took that award this year. I mean, don't shock. They're the standard bearers of the genre
Well,
right now.
I said to that. I
But it's
said,
not your last nomination, I can
no,
tell you that
hopefully,
much.
yeah. That's what I said to Luke. I said when we found out, I was like, "We're nominated for Music NL." I was like, "We're nominated with Rum Ragged." I was like, "We're not gonna win." I said, "But we're nominated with Rum Ragged." I said, "Rum Ragged's taking it 100%. If they don't, I'll be pissed."
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
also like good for your resume too, because that shows you like you can hang with the best, and can also get your more eyes on you from like other radio promoters or concert promoters or managers and stuff like that. It works really well.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Now, you're up for a Canadian Folk Music Award, and the awards this year are going to be back up in Ottawa after they were here in St. John's last year.
Yeah.
So, how does it feel to be up for a Canadian Folk Music Award?
Oh,
Crazy.
no. I can't put words into it.
I remember there was a little story behind what happened was I was with my dad at my house and my phone had died just before I left to go pick up my sister for school. And I left my phone at the house and I noticed before it died that they were announcing the Canadian Folk Music Awards. I was like, oh, that's sick. I hope like Rum Ragged wins. I hope they get a nomination. And I left and went up to get my sister because Luke's brother goes to the same school as my sister, and I saw Luke's brother outside. I was like, hey, Alex. He was waiting for his mom. I picked up my sister, and we got home. And I was in my room, and all of a sudden, all I heard from the basement was, ah! And my dad came running up the stairs. He was like, you guys were nominated. I was like, what? So then I tried to get a hold of Luke, and his phone was dead. And he was at Mount Pearl, so we had to drive all the way home from Paradise before we found out.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a half hour later before we actually found out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was like just a surreal moment for us to like actually be nominated for something like that because we've been wanting to get out of the province for so long, and Dean Clark's been trying to help us get up there and get a few things, and now that we're going up there, we're gonna try to do a few things with him and get a few gigs up there. But like it's an amazing experience for us because like we took that big step this year to go up because we've never been like farther than like 3 hours away and like from like St. John's. So we took the big step this summer and went like all the way up to St. Anthony and Northern Peninsula and like all that kind of stuff. So we're hoping this summer to do that again, but get a few stops on the way, right?
Yeah.
So
100%.
It's a big thing for us to be able to like even like go further and go all the way up to Ontario. It's like a big thing for us, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to shout out Dean Clark here for a minute because what he's doing with the Jigs and Reels radio show, the fact that he's doing it from Ontario, it's giving Newfoundlanders and Labradorians who are in the music scene a bigger opportunity to get out to more ears. And that could be another snowball effect into more gigs, more opportunities, more interviews, stuff like that. So, like, at the end of the day, it's good for all of us, really.
Oh, yeah, he every time he mentions us on his podcast, he says, if I have boys, they're my boys. Like, he means the world. We released one of our first songs on his radio station. We let him play one of our originals for the first time being heard.
He was first to play Far Away, wasn't he?
It was The Stance.
The Stance?
Yeah, and you played that, you sang that with your sister, Jackson.
Yeah, my little sister, yeah. And, Dean, we let Dean release it first because he's been amazing to us. He's done nothing but amazing stuff for us. I remember the first time he reached out, I was like, who is this guy from Ontario? Like, that's not real. Like, what is he doing? And I listened to it. I was like, oh, no, this is actually real. Yeah. And ever since then, him and my dad especially have just been like that. Him and my dad are like, because they're both like big beards, both like drink beer like crazy, and his father as well. They're all just like, and they all like connect really well. And Dean has been nothing but amazing to us. Like he's just one of those people like would do anything for anybody.
Oh, 1,000%. Newfoundland Labrador is in his blood.
Oh God, yeah, 100%.
Now, one of the other opportunities that you got to take on during your career was get to be on Rock Solid Builds, the show with Randy Spracklin, Nikki, and the rest of the Newfound Builders team. So what was that opportunity like to be on Rock Solid Builds?
Oh, that was amazing. It was amazing because they did a project for my family at our house out in Carbonear because we have a root cellar out there because the house was built, I think, in 1880. So it's an old house. But, I mean, it's really, really solid. Like, the older it is, like, the better built it is. But, like, nothing could go wrong with that house because it's so old. But the root cellar that was there's a big slab of concrete on top that was, like, might have been 3,500 pounds. And it was getting loose, so we had to get it taken off. So Randy and them, they were like, okay, yeah, we can do this. So They did the project for us. They put a fire pit in, took the concrete slab off the cellar, and I wrote a tune for the show and named the cellar on the hill.
And that's end up on Somewhere in Between.
Yep.
So let's get to that album now, because when I was talking with Brenda O'Reilly about this, actually, when your album came out, you guys didn't receive any funding from this. Tell me a little bit more about that.
No, we didn't really receive any funding for it. We when we recorded our demos, we sent them off to be, I think it was like graded or whatever the process is, to see if we get any funding for it. And we didn't get the graded score we needed to get any funding for it. And now we weren't sure, weren't 100% sure what it was. But from looking at the gradings, from what I could tell, it was just one person. Everyone else, say it was like 6 adjudicators or whatever it was. Everyone gave us like, say it was like score out of 30. We got like a 25, 26, 27, and one person gave us like a 10.
Yeah, one person. Yeah. They wrote a few nasty comments on it.
Yeah, it wasn't the best comments. Like there was nothing like the one thing that made me a little frustrated was if the person felt that way, that they didn't like our music, that's totally okay. That's their opinion. There was no comment about like the stuff they said was nothing to be like helpful. It was just like
they called us children.
Yeah, it was. There was nothing really there to be like, you guys should do this instead to make it better. There was no comments of like encouragement of like things to do better, which a lot of the other people who were adjudicating it did. Like they were like, this is so good, the tone is really good. One thing is just make sure to have an equal balance or something. But besides that, it's good. Like there was some like giving us some encouragement to like make it better in some ways to help. But the one person who didn't give us any of that was the one person who gave us the low score.
And that brought our
average right down.
Completely
so
down.
And that ruined your chances of getting your grant.
Any funding.
Yeah, there's really nasty people out there, but like, he didn't really give you that person didn't really give you constructive criticism. We're not going to mention any names here.
No, I don't. But, there was no names.
It's all anonymous. It was all
anonymous.
Oh yeah,
we don't even know who it was.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Yeah, and serving on a jury myself, like, I know what the process is like.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. It's all anonymous. We have no idea, but. And like I said, just nothing. I have nothing against the person who did it because their opinion, whatever. That's why we sent it in there to be adjudicated. The only thing I didn't like was that there was no really comments about what we could have done to do better.
Yeah.
Especially if you're gonna say like you guys are children and stuff like that. We're trying to learn as children. You know what I mean?
You gave the comment just for the sake of giving it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so, how did you end up funding that record?
Ourselves and our parents.
Self-funding and parents. We didn't do any fundraising. We didn't do anything. It was all self. We worked and we did get as many gigs as we could, and we did a lot of volunteer gigs as well to try to get our name out there for more gigs. Like we did a lot of gigs for what's the place called?
Lanes?
Yes, Lanes Retirement Home.
Lanes a lot.
We do a lot there. We do a lot of volunteer for Seniors Home, but there's one place, Verapolyn.
Verapolyn Society.
Verapolyn, yes. We did a few volunteer gigs for there. And like trying to get our name out there to get some more money for funding and stuff like that and that kind of stuff. But it was a really tough process because like by the time we had paid off the album and we paid everything, then we had to make that money back. Like when we had to gig even harder to make back the money we had spent because it was like $13,000. Like it was a lot of money out of pocket we had to pay.
Yeah.
Now luckily there's 3 of us.
And you can split it 3 ways.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes. So we split it 3 ways the best we could, and like if the boys needed help because they're paying too, I helped them with as much as I could. Like we tried to be equal and fair with it and understand. But it was a long process, and like by the time we actually paid it off, I think we sold like probably 400 CDs.
Yeah, and I would imagine you had like about 500 to 1,000 printed.
Yeah, like we had a lot of done, and we had a lot of. I remember we brought hats down with us.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't think they were going to sell well, and we brought 15, and they were gone in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody, we all assume that it's not going to sell until we actually go out and do it.
And it like flew right out of our hands. But that was the hardest part for us. Was like, geez, sorry.
It's all good.
The hardest part for us was that concept that we had to pay for it all ourselves, and it kind of sucked really hard for us because when we were young, we were still trying to learn and stuff. Then now as being young, we also did have the oh my god, we still understood the concept that like we are young, so we might not get it right away. We still have many years to come. But that was, like I said, the concept we didn't understand. Like, there was no encouragement for help for us, which kind of really struck and kind of hit a nerve almost. That like, why? Like, what's the need? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
But it was a long and hard process for us to be able to pay it off and all. And Billy was absolutely amazing with us. Like Billy, anything we needed to wait for if we didn't have the money. Like Billy was like, no worries, just whenever you can. Like Billy was like right on. Like Billy was perfect with it. Billy was any help he could give, he helped us. And same with Jason. Jason was the same way, but it was just really everyone who could have helped us, and it was really that felt nice to us. That people who wanted to help us helped us, and that kind of stuff.
And it's less pressure on you guys.
Yeah,
and it's great to have like people like Billy Sutton and Jason Whalen in your corner who have been there and done that. And look, no matter what age you are, no one has it all figured out right away or at all. We're all figuring out as we go.
Oh God, that's the part of being young. No, it was really, and like we said, there's no grudge or anything against anybody who didn't give us money or anything like that. We're just.
But you can also use it as motivation too to become better musicians.
That's what we said. That's what I said to Luke. I said like us being nominated for this Canadian Folk Music Award really shows like we can do what we want. It's like we can do good with this. Like if we stick with it, we can get those grants we need. We can get these awards, these nominations, and win some awards as well, right? Like I said, we just got to stick with it and just work harder and harder and harder every year.
Yeah. Once again, when it comes to those nominations, they're your first.
Exactly.
They won't be your last.
I think that was you who told. I remember someone telling me that at the gala. I think it was you who told me. Even if you don't win, if you don't win, a nomination is enough, and just keep working with it. Like you got to keep sticking with it. There's many more to come.
Yes.
I think it was you who told me that.
For sure. I'm a 2-time MusicNL Award winner, but I'm also a 3-time MusicNL Award loser.
Yeah. It takes a few tries first before you win. And I'm happy that we grasped that at such a young age, like right away. Even like Alex being like 13 years old, like we were disappointed we didn't win, but we understood like this nomination is just enough for us anyway to be happy with.
Yes, that can get your eyes on. That can get like managers and promoters and agents more eyes on you guys.
Yeah.
And that's what I was happy to understand because like usually some young kids, if you like think about it, like they don't get what they want, they get sad and upset and they give up. Like I'm really happy that we equally just really like fast just grasped like even if we don't win, this nomination is enough for us.
Yeah. I mean, you'll probably reflect on it for a bit, but then you'll realize at the end of the day, it's one small piece of a larger puzzle of a goal you're trying to achieve.
Right, Yeah, no, I was pretty happy with that.
Now, I would imagine you guys have some big goals for 2025. You're going to be going up to the Canadian Folk Music Awards in April. I would imagine you guys are going to be attending the ECMAs in May.
Yeah.
So what are your plans now for 2025?
We have a lot of stuff in the works. We don't really have many. We have a few gigs planned, but we have a lot of stuff in the works, like a ton of stuff. We have a mini Newfoundland tour in the works for the summer from if we go back up, if they want us back up in Hawke's Bay, we're going to get a whole bunch of gigs on the way. We had someone reach out from Fogo doing the Fogo Festival. We had a few other places reach out, so it would be a good time for that. Yeah. We Paddy's Day for us is pretty busy. We're down at Shamrock City downtown from 8 to 11 on St. Paddy's Day, like prime St. Paddy's Day time.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a few other small things worked out for the summer and a few little big things, but we have something in the works now we're trying to figure out with doing a Christmas show with a few special guests and a few people we're trying to work with. And we're hoping, because the category we were nominated in at the Canadian Folk Music Awards, you have to be below 19 when the thing is recorded. And I turned 19 in June.
Wow.
So we're trying to get one more last thing out before June hits to get ourselves put back in that nomination category.
So you never know, we might have another album out this year, hopefully.
Hopefully. We're trying to figure it out and get something worked out, but because that's our time limit is June 17th on my birthday, and from there until then, as long as we have everything recorded by that day, it doesn't have to be produced, as long as it's recorded by then we're okay.
For sure. Now we're going to get to one of those songs from somewhere in between shortly, but for people who want to find out more about your gigs that are coming up in 2025 and anything else Salt Beef Junkies related, where can they go when it comes to, say, website or socials?
You can go, we're on Facebook, Instagram, we're on all streaming platforms. I think.
When we saw
Most of them.
there's so many streaming platforms we're on, I didn't even know half of them existed.
Yeah, I
when we
know.
saw it.
I was like,
so
what's
many.
this one here? I was like, never heard of that.
There's so many.
Yeah.
But a lot, like Luke said, there's a lot of other things like that. And the merch that I was telling you, our hats and stuff, if you wanted to purchase that, I think you can go on Spotify and it says on our profile where you can buy it. But if not, you can go on Atlantic Music.
Yeah.
It's there as well.
The link's in our Facebook and Instagram too. It'll just Atlantic Music Store. Click on it, and all our merch is there.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm very proud of how far you've come since I first met you guys, and it's only onward and upward from here. Congratulations on your MusicNL award nomination, and your Canadian Folk Music Award nomination. Here's the big things for you guys in 2025. Luke Mercer, Ty Simms of Salt Beef Junkies, thanks for doing this.
Thanks
Thanks,
buddy.
Zach.
Thank you.